What's up, YouTube? You're watching Teresa and David's channel. I'm David. Teresa is around here somewhere, I'm sure. And this is my first bartending video I'm going to be doing. I'm very excited. This is the perfect weekend to get started. It's St. Patrick's Day weekend, or as the ancestors on my mother's side would say, "Oh, it's St. Patrick's Day." How do I always get into my Irish accent? I go, "Top of the morning, Lucky Charms, potato, famine." A little dark at the end. I moved here from the Boston area. We're in Minneapolis now. And I mean, St. Patrick's Day is truly one of the biggest holidays in Boston. But it's huge. It's going to be bumping in Minneapolis too. Come check out Hopcat, where I'll be bartending. Not on St. Patrick's Day, but still might end up showing up. So yeah, we're going to do a shot video today. We got 4 shots, 2 that are going to be layered, 2 that are going to be chilled. They're very Irish and St. Patrick's Day themed, so yeah, let's get started. Shot number 1, we're going only 2 ingredients, very simple. It's called the Girl Scout cookie. There's a bunch of different recipes out there, different names. Some people call it Thin Mint. I like calling it the Girl Scout cookie. We keep it very simple, and there's some additions you can do to it later to make it a little more complicated, but we're just going to use 2 ingredients. We're going to use equal parts creme de menthe, or any mint liqueur, and also Bailey's Irish cream. So we are using, of course, the original Bailey's Irish cream. If you have some allergy problems with dairy, like my wife Teresa has, oh, there's my special assistant, thank you. We actually found a really cool dairy-free option. This is dairy-free and gluten-free. This is an almond-based liqueur. It's still the Bailey's brand. It is really, really good. Thank you, assistant. No. Yeah, so very, very simple. Here's what you will need. You need your shot glass. We're going to need a bar spoon, and you're going to need a pour. Now, you don't absolutely need one of those speed pours go on top of the bottle. It makes it a lot easier for sure, but if you have something in your kitchen, like a measuring cup maybe that has a channel on the end, that'll make it a lot easier to pour, get a nice even layer. That's going to help a lot. It's really hard to do that straight out of the bottle. For our bar spoon, there's just a basic bar spoon here. You can see it has a smaller head. Makes it easier to get inside the top of the shot glass. So really any spoon that has that smaller head will work really well. Also, sometimes I like to use a maraschino cherry. It's a little more showy, a little fancier, and you get a little bit of that cherry flavor in there. So maybe at some point we'll show you guys how to do that. You don't always get quite as even a layer, so we'll worry about that later. The one thing we absolutely need is our shot glass. So let's get started with the Girl Scout cookie. We start with our creme de menthe. All right, let's start with our base layer of creme de menthe. Right about there is good. Now, we're gonna layer our Baileys. I'm gonna place that spoon right about at the level that your creme de menthe is at. I'm gonna try to roll this over nice and slow. Keep bringing that spoon up just a little bit as the level comes up. All right, we're gonna let that settle for a second. That is our Girl Scout cookie. All right, before we get to our next layered shot, I want to give a shout out to 2 classic St. Patrick's Day shots that if you order these at pretty much any bar, I'm pretty sure they'll know what you're talking about. So we start with the Irish flag. We have creme de menthe as our base, just like before, and then Bailey's on top of that. Only difference is now we add an orange liqueur as the 3rd layer. So equal parts of each of those. And then you get green, white, orange, just like the Irish flag. Another really cool layered shot out there that uses 3 ingredients is we start with Midori, or a melon liqueur, Bailey's again in the middle, and then Jägermeister on top. Now, I've sort of done my own thing here because I like the look of the Irish flag, but I think that the creme de menthe at the end starting with Jaeger, then Bailey's, and then the creme de menthe tastes way better. You start kind of herbal and floral, you get cream in the middle, and then finish with the mint at the end. It is really delicious, and it still has that look of that Irish flag. So even though I'm messing with the bottom and the top here, of course, we still have our Baileys in the middle. It's like the classic Irish liqueur to use. Thank you. Yeah, and we have our dairy-free options. All right, thank you. Thank you, I really appreciate it. So, we're gonna get started. As far as I know, that recipe with creme de menthe, Bailey's, Jaeger, I haven't seen that anywhere. I'm pretty sure that means I get to name it. And I'd love to get a shout out to my Irish heritage and my Irish side of the family, all the Leonards out there. This one is called the Lucky Lenny. Let's get started. All right, so we are gonna start with Lucky Lenny with the same base. Let's get that creme de menthe in there. I'm gonna pour a little bit less than we did before, right about here. Nice strong base. Now we're gonna layer our Baileys. We're gonna do this the same as we did before. It's gonna be a little bit tougher this time because we've got to reach further down and let this roll nice and easy. There we go. And that green and white is gonna mix for just a little bit, but that should settle and get a little bit more even. Go. Looking good. Now let's finish it up with our Jaeger Meister. There we go. A little bit too fast there, but that's still going to be okay. I'm going to float this Jaeger right on top. And it's still got that orange, kind of looking like that Irish flag. All right. I'm gonna give that a second to settle, but that's our Lucky Lenny. That's looking beautiful. Now, let's get into our chilled shots. We're gonna need a few more tools to make these happen, but I promise it's worth it if you can get them. First, we're gonna need our shaker tins, a large and small. We'll need a strainer, a rocks glass, and a jigger. All right, now if you're thinking, I don't need all those things, I can figure it out. Yes, to a degree you can. I really strongly suggest using the shaker tins. Even if you have one shaker tin and top it with like a Boston cooler or a different kind of glass, this is getting a little sciencey, but the glass is gonna take away more thermal energy from the ice as we're shaking than we really want. When you keep it to those tin on tin, the water is passing through the ice and getting chilled without diluting as much. And that's really what we want, especially when we're doing something like a shot, because we don't want it to get too watery. The reason we want to use the strainer, same thing, because it's not a cocktail. So some people out there maybe are a bartender watching this video, and you have a great crack the egg technique. That's where we split the tins and pour straight out of the tins. You're always going to get a little bit of that ice residue, ice chips that come in. Sometimes that's great for like a vodka martini, but for a shot, when we're shooting it straight back, we don't want any ice chunks in there whatsoever. So we do want to use a strainer. And then rocks glass. The reason I like using a rocks glass is because we are diluting these liquors a little bit. So we don't want to be too stingy and cut it off with, let's say we have a shorter shot glass. The rocks glass, you don't have to fill it all the way up to the brim, and we don't have to be too stingy with the amount that we're giving out. The one thing we could do without if we wanted to is our jigger. If you have a really good count, usually about 1 second, or some people pour and do a drop, is going to be 1 ounce, but you can always be a little bit more exact, and if you have one, you might as well use it. I mean, if you have anything in your kitchen that measures ounces, that'll work great. So, our first chilled shot is called the Nutty Irishman. This is perfect if you're out on St. Patrick's Day with your friends and everybody is pressuring you to do a shot of Jameson. If you are not into whiskey or just liquor, hard liquor in general, this is a really good option for you. It is delicious. We start with a Italian liqueur. It's a hazelnut liqueur called Frangelico. It is really tasty and really good. And then of course, we use our Baileys. And this one, yes, yeah, and we have the dairy-free option. Thank you. Okay. So don't do it again. We're going to start with an ounce of our Baileys. An ounce of our Baileys, and we're going to put that right into the shaker. And then we're going to do a ½ ounce of Frangelico. Of course, that's going to get a little diluted as well. Let's build the Nutty Irishman. I'm going to start with my 1 ounce of Baileys. I'm going to measure this in. I'm pretty good at eyeballing it, but I like to get these exact. We have our 1 ounce of Baileys. Now I'm going to go ½ ounce of our Frangelico. That is all we're going to need. I'm going to add my ice. I'm going to shake it up. I'm not going to do too long of a shake because this is not going into a cocktail. This is going into a shot. We don't want to dilute it too much. Let's get that top off. Glass, got my strainer. We are ready to pour. The Nutty Irishman. Alrighty, our second chilled shot and our last shot of this episode, if you will, is called the Dublin Kiss. The Dublin Kiss. Nice, thank you back there. Don't do it again. So this is going to be a lot more. If you're watching this video and you're like, all right, all this stuff seems using a lot of liqueurs here. We got mint, we got hazelnut. This is a lot more traditional because we start with Jameson as our base. So we're going to start using an ounce of Jameson, then we're going to have a ½ ounce of Bailey's Irish cream. I said, don't. I'm not kidding. Okay. This is my time. Yeah. I swear. All right. We start with our Jameson. We do a ½ ounce of, I think we all know what we do a ½ ounce of, and I don't even need to say it.
Bailey's!
And then we're gonna splash that creme de menthe. Just a little bit of that mint on top. It helps get it just a little bit green, still on theme for St. Patrick's Day, but we have that strong whiskey base. It is really delicious, so now let's make the Dublin Kiss. I'm gonna start with my Jameson. My little nip of Jameson here. I'm gonna do an ounce, and on one like this, I might give the Jameson just a tiny bit of a generous pour because somebody who is ordering this shot, the Jameson is what they want. So we'll go an ounce here, and I might let that roll just a tiny bit over as we go. Okay, then we have a ½ ounce of our Baileys. Don't do it. Okay. And I'm just going to splash the creme de menthe. Still going to get a little bit of that green, which is going to be nice. Add your ice. I'm going to shake this one just a little bit harder. Off. Ooh, it looks good. Rocks glass, grab our strainer and pour. The Dublin Kiss. Thank you so much for watching our first bartending video. There's going to be a lot more to come. Have a great St. Patrick's Day. I hope you use those 4 options if you're having a party yourself. And if you're going out to a bar somewhere, out with your friends, then you'll kind of have some ideas that you can suggest with everybody. Yeah, definitely subscribe to our channel. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell to get notifications. Check out our first podcast. This has been awesome. Cheers. Happy St. Patrick's Day.